Hi everyone, this is Tuplex, and welcome to my brand new series in Factorio. We're in version 0.16.36 at the time that we're starting the series. In this series, we're going to do something different. Actually, all the series that I've done up till now have been essentially the vanilla game with some quality of life mods. And this time I decided to change things up and try something different, just to keep the game fresh and interesting for me and hopefully for all of you as well. So let me start by showing you the mods that I'm going to be using. I'm not going to go through every single one right now. I will provide a list, but the main ones that I'm using are Angel's mods. Yes, you can hear my dog in the background. He's excited about something. So I'm using Angel's mods. I'm also using Angel's smelting patch, which restricts the recipes that we can use in the early game for smelting. It just makes it a little more challenging. I'm using auto research to manage the research queue. I'm using all of Bob's mods. I'm using space extension. So my plan on this series is to, launch the faster than light travel rocket. This is basically an endgame mod that, rather than just doing endless infinite research, it gives you a challenging goal for production in the endgame. And then I'm also using this Bob's Mods compatibility add-on for space extension mod. Now, this mod is not updated for version 0.16 yet. So I downloaded this mod manually and updated it myself. It is very, very easy. I'll probably just make a short standalone video to show you guys how to do that in case you want to use it. If you don't want to use it, it's optional. This basically just changes the space extension recipes to take advantage of higher tier Bob's Mods technology, just to make it a little more challenging. All right, I'm using a mod called Bulk Rail Loader, which you'll see when we get to it. Even distribution, of course, FNEI and Hell mod. These are for planning and reference purposes. I'm going to be using Logistic Train Network, which I'm pretty excited about. We have loaders. I have long reach research, so we can do research to increase our reach on the map. I'm going to be using nanobots, RSO, a couple of graphics mods, squeak through. This helps us move around the map more easily. Upgrade planner, vehicle snap, and yarn. So most of these, well, I wouldn't say most, but many of these I've already used in my last series. Okay, now I've already started a map that'll load up, but for now, I just so I can show you the settings, I'm just going to copy in my map string here. So for resources, I set the size to big for all of them and the richness to good. So these are one level higher than default. For the terrain, I turned cliffs off because I don't want to deal with cliffs. And then on advanced settings, that is all default. Another important thing here is that I'm starting the game in peaceful mode. I do not want biters attacking me when I'm trying to build something. But I didn't want to remove them from the game completely because then that takes a whole technology chain out of the picture. If you never have to do anything militarily, I think it tends to make the game a little boring. So this way we'll still have to fight biters when we want to expand, but they won't fight us when we're busy doing other stuff. So I think that's a good compromise. And then on the mods, everything is pretty much default except for resource spawner. I increased the patch size multiplier to 1.2. I think the default was 1. And I increased the distance or richness exponent from 1 to 2. So that'll give us slightly larger patches all around, and it will increase the rate that they become richer as you get farther from the main base. Okay. So that's about it. Let's go ahead and get started. All right. Yeah, this is actually a little bit different than the one that I saved. Yeah, let me just load up the one that I saved. Starting map. Okay, no, I guess it is the same. I think it's just the, I think just the trees were generated differently. No, it is different. Okay, well, sorry about that. Anyway, we can see here that we've got a few enemy bases close by already. We've got some coal, rubyite, sapphirite, stereotyte, and bobmonium. Those are the main ores that you start with when you're playing Bob's and Angel's mods. So you'll say, hey, where's the iron and the copper and the stone? Well, they're not here. We have to get iron and copper by processing these other ores. We also get lead and tin, which we use fairly early in the game. You'll also notice that we've got natural gas as well as multi-phase oil. So instead of only crude, we now have oil and gas to contend with. And there's a lot more processing steps involved. So it's pretty interesting to work with these new processes. So I'm going to hit Shift-G to run my resource labels. Oh, actually, I didn't. That doesn't look right. Shift-H to delete it. Let me change the settings there. I thought I had that set already. I apologize for that. Okay, I don't want to see the names. I want to see the count. And I do not want to show infinite ores. All right, so let's try that again. There we go. That's what I like to see. Now the infinite ores, see this label's covering it up now. Let me get rid of it. I can add it later. So you'll see in the center of this patch up here, there's this one that says, yeah, stereotyte ore combined yield 24,000%. That looks a lot like oil. Well, the infinite ore, basically what it does is outside of the starting area, it will add a small patch of infinite ore at the center of every resource patch. And that stuff works a lot like uranium, meaning that to mine it, you need to have some fluids. And in this game, it depends on, the fluid that you need depends on what kind of ore you use. So for something simple like coal, I think it's sulfuric acid. For some of the other ores, you need different types of acid, different types of, different chemicals. So, okay. Yeah, so let's set up our research queue to start with. We're going to want to do automation first, followed by logistics, and I'm looking for mechanical refining. All right, those are the first three that I want to do, and I'll explain mechanical refining a little bit later, but that'll just set up our research queue. Okay, so now we need to start by getting iron, as we normally do. Okay, so the first thing that I will do is put in a mining drill. Fortunately, I already have some coal from that big rock, so that helps. Now, in this case, you can see that gives me sapphirite ore. Well, I can't really do anything with sapphirite ore. What we have to do is we have to crush it first. So we have these burner ore crushers that we start with. I'm going to tell it to give me crushed sapphirite. And so what that'll do is it'll take 2 sapphirite ore, it'll crush it up, and it'll give me 2 crushed sapphirite and 1 crushed stone. So that crushed stone, that's how you get stone in this game, because there are no stone patches. Okay, and then what we do is we pick that up, We put the crushed sapphirite in the furnace, and that gives us iron plates. So, so we got basically one extra step from a typical vanilla game, at least at the beginning. Later on, we're going to research more advanced and more complex technologies to do smelting. The advantage of those is throughput is higher, and you also get more plates per ore. So as you get the higher tiers of smelting, the higher technologies, you also get a greater yield for the amount of ore that you put in. Okay, so I don't want to put all my coal in there. Alright, so my objective right off the bat is to get another miner drill, so that we can put the second miner drill here, so that we can crush it twice as fast. It would also be good to make another furnace. Alright, and that's using wood for fuel, which I don't want to use. With these mods, wood is used to make circuits. So I want to try to conserve wood and only use it when it's absolutely necessary. So I'm going to try to use coal for fuel, you know, at the earliest chance I get, and just hang on to all the wood. And later on, if we have a lot of excess wood, we can always burn it off if we need to. But for now, I just want to keep it all handy. Okay, let's put that in there. All right, now with even distribution, I can do this, of course. Now the other nice thing is I can pick up from here, and then I can press Shift C, and that'll automatically feed the sapphirite in there. Okay, so I'll go ahead and craft those, and now I can get 2 mining drills on coal. Alright, give me that wood. There we go. I think there's an option somewhere to... I think there's an option to change autofill. Because I would like to tell autofill not to use wood. But I don't see that option anywhere. It might be a console command or something. Yeah, I don't see it. Okay. Well, I'll look for it later. Okay. And then we're gonna try to double up here. So I'm gonna make another... Actually, I'll make 2 more burner ore crushers, because I want to put one on copper soon. And in the meantime, we'll continue this process here. Let me go grab some coal. All right, so stereotyte, crushed stereotyte gives you iron plates, as you can see. We have to separate that by 1. I'll copy that recipe there. Put 2 more furnaces. Let's put some fuel in there. Can I make another one? Yep. We have to feed it manually the first time so the furnace knows what you want to make. Otherwise the Shift C doesn't work properly. Okay. Alright, so it's burning some of my wood, but so be it. Alright, and then we're going to do the same setup for copper. Now in the case of copper, that comes from stereotyte. So sapphirite gives us iron. Stereotyte, which is this stuff down here, will give us copper. So let's go ahead and we'll set up one of those production units for copper. As soon as I clear a few trees here. Actually, let's put it up here. There's no reason to make myself walk very far. go. Put that there. Now in this case, we tell it to make crushed stereotype. The quantities are the same. 2 in gives us 2 crushed and 1 stone. And then I'll need a couple more furnaces. For that I need more stone. Okay, let me go get more coal. In fact, I'm going to make 2 more burner drills for the coal. There we go. Okay, and then I got my 2 furnaces. Okay, and then over here we can start to make some copper. There. So now we're making iron plate and copper plate, and we don't have enough fuel. So I'm gonna go ahead and add more drills. There we go. So we'll get up to 6 drills on coal. I think that'll probably be good enough. Okay, so we can start to collect it a little more quickly now. All right, and what we're going to find in this game, especially in the early game, eventually we're just going to be drowning in crushed stone and stone brick, because we produce so much of it and we don't really have a lot of use for it. But we're going to save it. We're going to store it because it'll come in handy as the game progresses. Okay, so now we can start making some power. So I'll make a boiler, 2 furnaces, some power poles. I would like to make a lab as well. For that I need more copper and more iron. Alright, and you can see how that recipe is calling for wood down there in the total raw. That's because the basic circuit boards require wood as an ingredient. You require 1 wooden board. 1 wooden board is made from half a piece of wood, so that's why we need the raw wood in this particular playthrough. Alright, let me get some more fuel. Okay, yeah, we're starting to accumulate the fuel now. Okay, and I need an offshore pump as well. And I need an underground pipe. Alright, let's feed all of these with fuel. Okay, so where should we put our power? I think a good place for it would be south of this body of water, running that way. That way we don't get in the way of south, or we could put it here. No, I'd like to put it down to the south. So let's go do that. Get some power set up, and while I'm heading over there, I can't make any science packs. I need more copper. Okay. Now there was a change recently to Bob's Mods that changes the colors of all the science packs. And he did that so that the colors of the science packs would match the color progression of the belts. So yellow is the first tier, red is the second tier, and then there's blue, and then purple, and then green, or something like that. So be careful. At the beginning of the game, you want the yellow science packs, not the red science packs. That is an option, though, in the mod settings in the startup tab. You can you can tell it to use the standard colors if you want to. I just thought it would be cool to use the different colors just for kicks. Okay, and we'll put that there. We'll put one there for the next one. And we have no fuel. Let me make a burner inserter, and we'll get some coal, and then we'll get that fired up and start doing our automation research. Something new that I'm going to give a try. I'd like to get your feedback on this. Normally I shoot for, let's make I'll make wooden chests. Normally I shoot for about 25 to 30 minutes for my episodes. But I find that with this game, sometimes it's really hard to get anything done in such a short amount of time. So what I'm going to try for a while, and if you all like it, we'll keep it that way. I'm going to try shooting for around 40 minutes. Hopefully that's not too long, but hopefully it's long enough that we can get meaningful things accomplished every episode and not have to stretch the series out, over 150 episodes or so. I do expect this series to be longer than the last one, just because there's a lot more involved. But I'm not gonna, extend it unnecessarily, certainly. Okay, so while that is going, let's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's double up on our iron production. And let's double up on copper production as well. And then I think that with that, we'll be in good shape until we get things automated. Gotta wait for that stuff to get crafted. While we're waiting for that, let me show you the SpaceX stuff in case you haven't seen it before. All right, so after Rocket Silo research, as well as some higher tiers of modules, that unlocks space assembly, which gives you these special assembly robots. And then you get space construction, which gives you a dry dock and some structures. And then you have to do all these researches for different parts of the spaceship that we're going to build to leave the planet. And you can see that these all require pretty significant amounts of science and then a component that's fairly expensive to build. And then you get this faster than light theory. You've got A, B, C. And if you look at the science requirements, you see that it's pretty huge. 250,000, 250,000, 125,000, and then 125,000 of all those science packs. And then at the end, you can make a faster than light drive, which is also very expensive. And then once you finish all that, I think you're ready to leave the planet. I'm not entirely sure because I haven't used this mod all the way to the end game before. So I'm going to be learning some of this as I go along. And in general, that will be true. Because I do not have as much experience with Angels and Bob's mods as I do with vanilla, as you might imagine. I have been through the early game several times, so I feel pretty comfortable with what we're doing right at this moment. But we'll eventually reach a point in the game where you know, I might be asking you guys for advice. Or we might get stuck somewhere and say, okay, next episode, we're going to do this after I do some research and figure out what I'm doing. But I do enjoy that. I do enjoy having puzzles to solve and not knowing all the optimum ratios and everything right from the beginning. I think that'll make it a little more, I mean, certainly it'll be more interesting for me, and if it's more interesting for me, then I think that that will likely bleed through into your experience as well. So, but as always, if you know, if you see something you don't like, or you see something that you think could be better, please let me know. You know, every once in a while, most of the episodes that I do, I get positive feedback from everybody, and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that because just to let you know that that's usually the case. But every once in a while, I get a thumbs down on the video, but there's no comments that go with it. So if I get a thumbs down, which is totally fine, you know, if you don't like something, by all means, the thumbs down is, you know, that's your mechanism for providing quick feedback to me. But what would be really helpful is if you don't like an episode and you want to give it a thumbs down, please leave me a comment and let me know what you didn't like. And that way I can get better. But if I get a thumbs down and there's no comment, then all I really know is that somebody didn't like something, but I don't know what it is, and then there's nothing that I can do to try to address it. Okay, so we are researching logistics now. This would be a good time to, I think, start teching up to mining drills for our power, so that we can get rid of these burners here. So let me run some power over here. Actually, I'll try to get a little bit more out of the way there. And we'll craft a few mining drills. I'd like to start with 4. Alright, let me grab some more coal. Keep forgetting to get that. Alright, that's a lot of coal, that's good. Alright, yeah, those are burning wood. That's why I wouldn't take any more coal. Alright, yeah, these guys have a lot of coal. They can spare some. There we go. Okay, where was I? Yeah, mining drills. 2, 3, 4. Let's do 4 to start with. And then I think I wanted these. Yeah, I wanted these so that I can start making belts. So I'm going to need a couple more inserters as well. Here we are. Okay, let's make another box. Actually, I'm going to need 2 boxes. Alright, I'll limit that to 2. Not that I'm going to fill it by accident, but just in case. And then I'll put in more iron there. Okay, so we can start cranking out belts. Alright, so let's put the first 2 drills right there. Let's move it over by 1. And 2 there. So I'm going to relocate these poles. And I'm out of power poles. Okay, so I got 33 belts so far. That's not very many. So let me get some more iron and we'll start doing some handcrafting to go along with it. Okay. And we'll give that... Oh, okay. Yeah, I used all my iron already in my crafting queue. Okay, let's steer clear of that gas deposit. Steering clear of gas deposits is generally a good policy. Cleared that one. Yeah. Okay, and I'll start crafting those as well, and we'll pick up those. That should allow us to get the rest of the way down there. Okay, so we got logistics, which means that we have splitters and underground belts now. And then what we're researching right now is mechanical refining. And what mechanical refining does is it allows us to make, first of all, it allows us to make electrically powered ore crushers to replace the burners. And then we can make an ore sorting facility, which gives us access to these other recipes where we can make the actual iron and copper ore that we're used to seeing. We're not going to do that yet, though, because mainly I want this right now for the electric crushers more than anything. We don't need the copper and iron ore yet. Because we can't smelt it in a furnace anyway, because of that smelting patch that I mentioned at the beginning. Right now this is the most efficient way to make these plates. Now when we get to steel, then we're going to want to do sorting and use those ores, because the other thing that patch does is it makes steel production by just putting plates in a furnace. It makes that very inefficient. It takes 30 iron plates and I think either 60 or 100 seconds to make a single steel plate that way. So it's really only good just to kind of barely get things started. Once we have enough steel to make the ore sorters or the furnaces and stuff that we need to process steel that way, then we're going to switch over. All right, how are we doing here? Yeah, we're still doing okay. Okay, and looks like we are doing fine there. Power looks good. Let's add a radar, or perhaps 2 radar. Didn't I just put fuel in these things? There we go. Maybe I took it out by mistake. Okay, that's better. Yeah, let's make 2 radar, because I want to put one down here by power, and I'm not sure that will give me enough reach to get to the northern extent of the base. All right, so we'll put that first radar right here. Yeah, and then we'll put the other one up here somewhere to give us more vision and allow us to start looking for additional resources. Speaking of resources, as far as the trains go, I think I'm going to use two-headed trains on this game, so that'll be another new thing. I like them, but I really haven't used them in quite a while, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. All right, what I want to do here, let's make another box. I'm going to start converting this crushed stuff into regular stone. So you can take 2 crushed stone and you can turn it into regular stone in an assembly machine. Yeah. Well, isn't that just inconvenient? There we go. We'll put it here. So we'll have 1 in and 1 out. Actually, I should probably have 2 in. Whoops. All right. Let's, yeah, I'm going to need another power pole here. That's okay. There we go. All right, so we'll turn that to stone. I'm going to have 2 in just because it's a 2-to-1 ratio. And I want that to go into a furnace. And then I want that to go out into a box. Not wood, let's use coal. I'll just grab it from here. Whoops. And this way we can start to make stone brick. Stone brick is an ingredient in a lot of the production buildings that we're going to be doing. So that's why I want to start. I mean, this not only helps us get rid of some of the crushed stone, but it also gives us something to do with the stone, and we can convert it into brick, and that'll reduce the number of items that we need in the slots. Okay, let's do optics next, and then I'll probably do the first level of long reach research. All right, we need yet more fuel over here. And before I forget, let me put in my second radar. Seems like we should move that farther north. I don't want the distances to overlap too much because that's kind of a waste. All right, so we'll just put it there. Okay, great. Swamp tree. Okay, that's from Angel. All right, so we'll put more iron, more copper, so we can keep the research going. I think we can probably handle another lab. Coal down there too. Maybe I should have done 8 drills. Seems like we're always running out. Alright, so I'll make a couple more drills to pick up coal, and we'll make another lab. Okay, and we'll put that up there. Oh, okay. The lab is still crafting. Alright, the other thing I'm planning to do different on this series is I'm going to make my bus vertical instead of horizontal. almost every series that I do, I have a bus that goes from left to right across the screen, which I think makes sense. We'll do the long reach one next, because that's how I read. But I really like, when I've used a vertical bus or seen others using a vertical bus, I really like having the production layouts go horizontally instead of vertically, since they go 90 degrees to the bus. So on this playthrough, I'm going to have the bus either going south to north or north to south. I'm not sure which yet. We'll see where we end up here. And we'll try it like that. I think I'm going to like that more. Okay, well, I'm getting a lot of belts. I'm getting a lot of plates. I've reached the end of my time, so I think I'm going to wrap it up for this episode. So thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed it so far. I'm really looking forward to going through this series. I've actually been looking forward to it for quite a while. And I was kind of anxious to finish the last one, so that I could get started on this one, because I've been wanting to do a big game with Bob's and Angel's mods for quite a while. So hope you enjoy it, and I will talk to you all next time. Bye-bye.